infrastructure can keep up.
Keep up with it, yeah. And that's what we really have been focusing on doing more than, all these projects. We've been focusing on the roads and water lines and the sewer line.
Silly building for. Talk about. Basically. Are you crazy?
Yeah, it's.
Crazy. Because that's kind of, I think.
You're spending to appease poor people that, and even if you double that or triple it, still.
It's one of those things I feel like here today, on tomorrow thing. I would compare it to Frisbee golf.
City property.
That was huge 5 years ago.
Well, you're not wrong, because if you watch, okay.
Hi, Karina. Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know what?
Okay, at this time, we're going to listen about this zone change that's come before the council. And do you have anything to say about it, Emery, or we're just letting him talk and he can present his case?
Yeah, so I'll just real quick, go over, the Planning and Zoning Commission did hold a public hearing.
You want to start with the pledge?
No, we do that in the meeting, the regular meeting.
So the Planning and Zoning Commission did hold a public hearing on it and make a recommendation to approve the zone change. There is some facts and findings for you and about the property and how it is currently zoned. As far as the reason for the proposal, et cetera, I'll leave that to Mr. Russo. But in here, it does show that the current zoning of the property is retail business. And it abuts RD 7200, which is single family zoning. Even though the property is zoned retail business, the surrounding uses are residential in nature for the most part. There's a shop adjacent to the property. So everything was published in accordance with Wyoming statutes and our zoning ordinance, which met all those requirements. I don't have really anything on that else to add. If you got any other questions, I can answer them on the logistical side.
What butts up to it that's all housing? Just Mickey Hall's place?
There's a couple of mobile homes and a house, and there's one behind it, and then there's a shop to the west of it, east of it.
And what are they actually zoned?
Those are all zone retail business as well. There's some that are 7 to 200, the breaks right there in the alley. So if you look on page 2,
Yeah, you go to Wham, they push that it's illegal to spot zone.
so
Can we legally change the zoning or do we got to, do a, trying to think what it's called,
Variance?
variance?
no, we can change the zoning. All we'd be doing is readjusting the 7,200.
So I guess my question,
Well, wait just a second. This is for the public to speak on everything. We'll debate this when it's time to vote on it a little bit later. We can, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
So
This is, Emery's just explaining what it's about.
David, spiel.
You can, yeah.
Hey, David, you're up.
Hey, howdy. So yeah, just trying to change it from commercial retail to residential. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Is there anything from anyone in the audience that has any objections or anything? Nothing, I guess, huh? Was there any written correspondence at all? None? No opposed testimony? I guess if there's no opposed testimony, it has nothing to rebut to, so. But when it comes up in later when we vote, then we can talk about it. Your
Okay.
concern. That all from the audience? Nobody has anything to say? Okay. I'm kind of fumbling through this. I'm just a little bit.
Makes two of us.
We'll get there though. Okay, well, at this time then we'll take like a 10-minute recess till 1:15. So if anybody does show up, that'll give them a little time. Then we'll start the regular meeting at 6:15. I didn't see that one. Oh. Yeah. So, yeah, public hearing on the CWSRF sanitary sewer improvement project.
We've been kind of talking about in the meetings over the last few weeks. We've been mentioning an application for a larger sewer project for some of the special purpose tax sewer lines that are on the ballot, as well as the river crossings. Part of the funding process is we have to have a public hearing for that project. So that's why we're here for this. So I'll go over kind of a real quick project description. I'll go over the budget, the proposed method of repayment for the SRF loan, and then I'll take any questions any of the public may have. So this project consists of 2 river crossings that we have right now. We have one on the south end of town and we have one on the north end of town. Those are older lines. We replace those as part of this project. And then in one section rebuild some older sewer that would act as redundancy. And then up on the hill, we have a lot of old PVC and clay tile lines that are in really poor shape. And this would involve digging those up and replacing those as well. So the funding that we've sought after would be SRF funding. And right now they have principal forgiveness for the town listed at 1.575 million, which is half of the project cost. So the rest of the project costs, we're proposing to use special purpose tax to offset some of that to get a bigger project done for this basically the same cost. So we're planning on getting this application in on October 10th. There'd be a board meeting that we would go to in February. It was planned to start design next spring, go to bid probably the following winter, construction start early 2026. This is the plan. We have to do a full environmental. We've received some comments from federal agencies, the Wyoming Game and Fish, the Army Corps. Just in most of those speak about just make sure that you get through the proper processes and permits when you start the project. Haven't had any like big red flags about the project come up on the environmental side. So, and we don't expect any increase right at this time of rates to handle this project. The special purpose tax, the principal forgiveness, and what we have on hand is going to cover this just fine. And
Could you describe the special purpose tag? I'm not aware of that.
yeah, so there was lines up on the hill,
They're talking the west.
the west hill, that were on that special purpose tax ballot as a part of that $8 million sum that everybody voted on. So we would like to get those projects done.
So that's already in place.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you're talking about sewer lines on the west hill, because having built up there for a number of years, I'm well aware of certain places that at that night, the pipe just. The very first one I ever dug up, I tapped with a shovel and broke the pipe out.
Yeah, so they're mainly in those alleys between going from Bridge to Rochester and between like 6th and 9th. Yep, those ones we'd be looking at. More questions? Comments, concerns?
Hey, do we have to involve Corps of Engineer or get a sign off from them on this project?
So once I've sent a letter to them and reached out to them, they're aware of the project, and their response to us was make sure that we get a pre-construction notification, we get a 404 permit, and then we work with Game and Fish, to mitigate any wildlife issues. So it's shouldn't be too big of an issue. We just have to go through the process.
Okay, I was just making sure we're not anticipating any delays we might encounter because of Corps. So if that's all it takes.
No, we can get through preliminary design and once we get to that point, we start working with them probably 90 to 120 days to get all that taken care of.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes, you bet.
That it?
That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
I have none. You guys?
Nope.
You have maps if anybody wants one.
Okay, now we'll take like a 5-minute break till a quarter after, just in case anyone shows up. Then we'll start the regular meeting. That works for everyone, so smoke them if you got them. I know the flu's going around, but did everybody come up with laryngitis all at once? Nobody's talking or anything?
COVID.
Deep in thought.
What's that, Brenda?
We're all deep in thought.
Oh, okay. I try not to do that too much. It hurts my head really bad. Read my mind, but
From the visitors council on the agenda.
what now?
I don't see my update on the visitors council. No.
No. Maybe not, Ellie. I don't know.
Well, I can always come back next time.
Well, we like seeing you. Come on back. No, Jim.
Yesterday, so,
Yeah. It's not on.
okay.
Right, they do the approval of the agenda, they can find it and put you under.
Okay.
Or you can be under the items from the public.
Yeah, I'll be public.
Okay.
Yes.
And you run me off a couple of these for that. Right.
She said she just wanted to be on items from the public, so she could just say or this for anybody. Items from the public, looking upside down, so she'll be under course, right there, items, so she'll be right there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Where's our man Emery? I guess we can go ahead and call it back to order then. Okay, at this time, we'll call the meeting to order, the regular meeting, and would everyone join me in pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brenda, could you do roll call, please?
Mayor Davis. Councilman Foley,
Here.
Councilwoman Beck,
Here,
Councilman Flutie,
Here.
Councilman Barkers.
Here. Okay, has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? And want to make any changes to it or anything? We put Ellie down here on items from the public. We'll change it some there. Any, you guys good with it? I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda then.
I'd make the motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay, next is approval of the minutes from the last meeting from September 3rd. Did everyone get a chance to go over those good and any changes that you or anything? Not, I'd take a motion to approve them.
I'll move to approve the September 3rd minutes.
For a second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Okay, next is approval of the bills. We have deposits in the amount of $368,678.94. Accounts payable, $119,957.27. Transmittals, $50,556.70. Payroll, $46,466.36. Is there a motion to pay the bills there?
I'll make the motion to approve the bills.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
And I know what, no,
Okay. Items from the public. Ms. Ellie, would you approach and enlighten us, please?
Okay. So tomorrow there will be a visitors council meeting at Elk Mountain, no, Medicine Bow. And at that meeting, they will be reviewing and possibly approving the contents of the survey that will be distributed to the residents of Carbon County. And each part of the survey asks you to identify where you're from. Or so if you are not in Saratoga proper, you may identify yourself as being part of the Saratoga community. And the way that survey works is it then rolls down to asking questions about Saratoga and what you think about what signage you need, what you think about what places are important to you, what you think needs to be done about improving the town. So it's a survey specific to Saratoga. And at the bottom of it, it asks you to please express any interest that you have in being on the committee that will review the surveys and all the other reports and information that's available to form a conclusion about what might be the right thing to do for Saratoga in conjunction with the Visitors Council. So tomorrow, there are a couple of things I'd like you to know. This survey will have posters that will be throughout the town, and it'll have a QR code on it for those of us that are QR literate. But there will also be hard copies. So for those of us who are not QR literate and do not want to do it online, there will be posters. I don't have an answer yet to how it will be distributed, but it should come up on Facebook and it should be in the media and it should be on the radio so that everybody gets a chance to talk about what they think. The reason this is important is that you may not remember this, but the Saratoga Transportation Alternative Master Plan, in that survey, there were only 43 respondents. So if you take the 1,700 people that live here in Saratoga proper, and then you add another 250 for the people that are in the surrounding community, that's like 2,000 people. Divide it in half, because let's say half of them are kids. That's 1,000 people that have opinions. And a good response to this kind of survey is about 10%. So if we don't have enough people expressing their opinions, we're gonna have to find another way. Like maybe we'll ask somebody to say something outrageous and then we'll all get on Facebook and express our opinions. Something creative like that. But it would be so helpful for our town because there are lots of views. And the views have to do with age, whether you're retired, whether you're not, whether you own, whether you rent, all of those views form where do we want to be as we move forward with the funds that are available from destination development. So that takes us to point number 2. Point number 2 is that the Wyoming Office of Tourism has several $1 million over 4 grant periods every 2 years. And those grant dollars are for developing in local items in local communities. For example, in Medicine Bow, they moved an antique building closer to the museum so that to make it look more like Encampment Museum, where you have actually a place where you can go and learn. So when you think about destination development, and I am saying this is my own personal opinion, that the place, if I were choosing to have Saratoga, I'm not saying anybody else should agree with me. I'm just saying, if I were making a decision about what would be a great thing to develop in Saratoga, I would choose one of the recommendations that was in the stamp plan, which was about the hobo pool, the public pool, Veterans Island, a part of the community that already exists, and improve it. And that would be what I would think about. That doesn't mean anybody else thinks that way. But as we think about where we want to be on June 30th, 2026, we, Saratoga, would like to be part of the grant process so that if there is something that the Visitors Council agrees with Saratoga, funds would come to Saratoga on a mutually agreed upon goal. So that's what destination development grants are about. As of this morning, some very nice person added one more thing to the things that we should list for having signs. And I say in this little note that they should be uniform. I don't mean that they should all look exactly the same. I just mean some uniformity so that as you're looking for signs, everyone knows what a stop sign looks like. Everyone knows what a yield sign looks like. So some kind of uniformity. And the thing that got added is one of the really popular places in town. It's a dog park. Okay, oh yeah. So if you're looking for a dog park, I can't find a dog park sign. There might be one, but I didn't find it. So that might be something that we'll consider. And that should appear, all of these things that are in this note should appear on the survey. And then the final thing I'd like to let you know is the electronic sign. The chamber is going to put up directions to the visitors' information on that sign. So, because right now, if you drive through town, you don't know where the visitors' information is unless you know to look at the Platte Valley Community Center big wooden sign at the very bottom to see the letters. So we can do that. And then I'd like to let you know about one other thing that's kind of fun. Discover Carbon County, which is the Visitors Council, has an app that is available on the App Store, and it's called Adventure Out. And it has pictures and it has a list of places that you can go. You can eat, you can go hiking. There is a kiosk available. Think like this. There's a kiosk that's available. It has a screen that also has that app on it. And should the town of Saratoga like to have kiosks somewhere, that is a possibility too. So there's one already in Bags and there's one already down at the Visitors Center building right by Riverside Encampment, you know where that Visitor Center building is. There's a kiosk in there. It hasn't been turned up yet, but there are kiosks, and I don't know where you might want to put one because you have great visitors information at the Platte Valley Community Center. But I don't know if you want to put one somewhere, probably let me know and we'll go see where we can get one and put it there. And that's it.
Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you very much, Ellie.
Well,
Hey, Ellie, I have a comment on the kiosk. We had some meetings in Casper. They got them in various places, but they did a little like community activity development and really built up a nice like a gathering area downtown Casper. They have one of those kiosks in front of it. And I know they probably vary in price and complexity, but it's really, really cool. I mean, to have a place where you can just stop and say, I feel like eating barbecue, or I'm looking for the local library, or I'm looking to attend church in town. I'm really interested in us pursuing something like that, just to look at what it would look like for cost and what our options are. And if those towns that have used them, if they have seen an increase as a result of that, an increase in attendance, or if anybody's been able to capture any of the results of using one of those in their town. But I mean, I personally think that they're great. I think there's enough technology available. We've got young kids with us and certain ages that are just jump right on that, and they're interactive and really useful, and could potentially be a form of advertising for our local businesses and get some people involved.
Okay, let me do this. I will get you any cost numbers, and I will get you I'll come back in a month and I'll get you some pictures of what they look like and what
Yeah,
the process
cool.
is for distribution. And then you
Great.
can consider, and you can think about where you might want them between now and
Yeah.
then. Okay?
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Ellie.
Sure.
Next, council comments. Is there any comments from the council about anything?
I do have something.
Pardon?
I don't know if we have anybody that's gonna mention the Alzheimer's walk, but we had quite a few people show up, probably close to 80, 90 people at the walk on Saturday. We had a lot going on, and we had some, things happening in town. The power outage, and all of that was going on. We've got people scrambling to get the volleyball tournaments figured out and all that, but we had a lot of folks show up, and with that initiative, first time in Carbon County hosting that in Saratoga, I think we should be really proud of that. And I appreciate the work and the effort and the time that folks put into that. We did raise, I think the final count the day of was close to $27,000 for Alzheimer's research. So I just think that was definitely something that we can take pride in. And I appreciate those that showed up to walk and show their support. And I hope that we can make that a tradition in the future. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, that was a good turnout on that and everything. For a very good cause. Okay. Reports from departments, town hall, letter of engagement, FY 2023-2024 audit. What, do you know anything about that, Rena?
Yes, that is us engaging Mountain State, Tim Fixer, to do our next audit that is due by the end of this year, December. And so that letter is in the packet. He goes over everything that he's gonna do. You know that we will have another single audit in there. So the price will be an estimated between $26,000 and $31,500. Like we have had in the past. So he's very, very good, and we've got a system down as to how to keep the cost down, even though we've got the two audits going. So
Okay,
if we could get that approved, and I can get it signed and sent back to him so we can get moving on it.
do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next, police department. I have a chief tonight, so I guess there's nothing to report. Fire department. I have a fire guy back there, but he's got nothing. Okay. Recreation department, we got a rec guy.
Okay. So first thing I have is Maria Johnson was the next on the rotation Kim had going for wearing shirts. The shirts were for flag football. That total came out to $430, about $10 per shirt.
And do you need a motion to pay that?
No, I spoke to the mayor about it, and he gave me the okay since it was kind of time sensitive.
Okay.
Yeah. And the next thing I have is fitness classes for the rec center. Aubrey Berger, who's a certified personal trainer, has sent me a tentative schedule she would like to do. Be Monday through Thursday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. It would be a strength training class. And then she would also do an additional one on Monday and Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And that'd be more of strength training geared towards the senior population.
Mhm.
And it would just be at the normal contracted rate for same as our other contractors.
Mhm.
But I would need a motion to move forward with her doing that.
But doesn't she have her insurance?
Does she have her own insurance? I do believe so, because she currently is doing classes out of Summit Fitness as well.
Okay, I think we do require that they carry insurance, right? It's part of their contract, Karina. So some of our other instructors. So if we just confirm that, I think that would be the only thing that we like to have in place.
That information for you.
But could you say her name again for us?
Aubrey Berger.
Okay, so I'll move to hire Aubrey for those classes and you'll update the advertising for folks, the calendar.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion passed.
That's all I got.
All righty.
Thank you.
Hey Carter, could I ask one more? Do we have any ongoing pickleball classes? Are they still doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday? And do we know if we're gonna try to do an evening, Tuesday, Thursday or sometime?
So they are Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. And they have been periodically, as of now, doing Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening.
Is there an issue you think or conflict with upcoming practice or anything like that where we could maybe squeeze in some before we start any basketball, volleyball?
So the only time that they wouldn't be allowed, and so the ones at night have been doing it in the back, smaller.
Oh,
rooms.
okay, okay,
Yeah, so the only one that's been a conflict so far is with the County Six dance, and we've kind of ironed that out between myself and the pickleball ladies.
okay, cool. Right, I'm just interested as the weather starts to turn, people might be interested in coming out for the evening, so if we can get an update from you or Cindy or the Cindys or whoever who's setting that up, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next is Department of Public Works, Emery. You're a busy man, Emery.
So on the agenda, I guess the only actual real big item I got is the Rocky Mountain Sand and Gravel Pay App number 4. This will be the last big pay app with these guys. And then we'll get into punch list items and clean up and then chip seal talk here for the future. But as far as the base bid goes, this is the last big payment for that. All the pipes in the ground, everything's passed, pressure tested. So
Okay, is there a motion to approve this $646,000?
I'll move to pay the fourth installment.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Okay,
then on the other public works updates, like seeing we got the curb in over at the park. Showed up that one pretty good. And went quick, smooth over there, so we're doing a little bit more fine grading and then we'll get it.
And early, that was early. We were all it was early. I thought they were planning to do it this week, and when we got there Saturday for the walk, we were all like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
What is the next phase of that? Could you remind me? I couldn't remember on that, Emery, when we plan to do, are we doing chip seal? Is that what we're intending potentially?
I think eventually that's kind of what we talked about down the road is doing a chip seal on the parking lot. definitely want to get this approach and shortly thereafter paved. Instead of that area that's gonna see that hard traffic right there, I think we want that asphalted.
Yeah,
And they
okay.
got, the Never Forget Park Group is working on a grant that includes bathroom construction and things like that. So once that money finally rolls in, we can discuss surfacing a little further.
Yeah, the curbs look great. It looks really good. I think that would be a nasty drop off if somebody tried to drive in there. But I couldn't remember when we plan to do the next phase of the work.
Yeah, we'll have that all smoothed up in the valley pan one way or another. If we can find somebody to maybe get asphalt in there. If not, we'll get it graded out so it's a smooth in and out.
Great.
Winter time, yeah. And then we are gonna
Okay.
backfill up to the back of the curb with topsoil in the grass area, so it's not a big protrusion sticking out there as well.
Great.
Just need a little time
Cool.
to get that done. Yeah, I talked about the River Street project a little bit. Said we're done spraying mosquitoes. Kind of wrapping up some reports and stuff for EPA on the water side that we gotta do for your sampling. Things like that. It's been a little bit busy. We're starting paving tomorrow is the plan. Up all these roads that we've milled, we're gonna start paving on those tomorrow. Probably gonna take a week and a half, a couple weeks to get all those done. It's quite a bit. So they'll tack everything they milled and get it overlaid. So pretty excited to get that done. And then that's kind of the last big project. And we'll get with lift station order probably for the airport, but I don't think we'll probably end up working, depending on the weather, we'll start on.
Gonna be warm enough tomorrow? It's not,
Our scheduling conversation was weather dependent.
yeah, it's not supposed to be.
Like I is 65 or something, and then maybe that's what it was calling for.
I was hearing 50, but
Well, that's the last time I looked, so maybe
Yeah.
it's dropped a little bit.
I haven't looked either.
If it's too cold, we'll just have to wait.
Yeah.
Well, but they got a lot of milling to do around the water valves and sewer manholes and stuff and get all the stuff cleaned off the sides of the curbs and everything too. So they got plenty to do if they can't pave tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's a lot left to do on that front. Those are kind of the big items. Anybody got questions, public works side?
No.
Our report's a little shy, a little scrambled right at the moment.
You look a little tired, Emery. Don't know why you would be, the way you run around.
Got a question.
So the approach to, Island, you don't have money in that budget to pave that from the asphalt down to the valley end?
We do, I gotta get somebody.
The guys that are gonna be paving, they're not for me.
That's the idea.
Well, that's Valley Village, Rocky Mountain paved that.
Yeah, there
that's up there.
There's another option too, if they can,
All they need's the asphalt. I mean,
right, they've got a bunch of patching to do too, while these guys are in getting their asphalt finished.
Their stuff's still here,
Yeah.
and they did an excellent job. for us.
Yeah,
Very,
the overlay looks
Yeah.
good, yeah. We got some options, it's just getting somebody to white out,
Okay.
so. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Planning session, is that where we're at now?
Water and Sewer Joint Power Board.
Yeah, at the last meeting, we just kind of talked about, the sewer and water ordinances and them being done and kind of handed off to us. Of course, a lot of businesses guys kind of updated them on where we were with the sewer application, and same thing I talked about a little bit earlier, what we had the public hearing on. And so, not a ton to report there.
Okay. Their next meeting's October 9th. That's already, oh yeah, October 9th, 5:30.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Should be at 6.
5:30 it says.
Planning and zoning, I think.
Yeah, zoning's 5:30.
Planning and zoning is 5:30, joint powers board 6.
Huh.
What says 5:30 on here?
Okay, well, I digress. Yeah, we'll have to change that.
Okay, got anything on the planning commission?
Yeah, so the main thing is you guys deliberating the zone change that was discussed earlier. You got any more questions about that? Gary did bring up a really good point on the spot zoning, so I did go pull Wham's presentation on that. And I wanted to make sure we were talking about the same thing. So if you look on their presentation, spot zoning, at least for me, and what it looks like on this, it would be, say, a really exaggerated example where Bill comes in and Bill lives in a residential neighborhood, has a vacant lot, but he wants to put a little butcher meat plant in there. And we let him do that, and then the people around there can't sell their houses, it stinks. So we allowed him financial gain at the detriment of everybody else.
What I'm looking at is we let him build a house in there and then they have complaints about the retail business around it from the house. That's why I thought the other way would be better. Lets him build a house, but yet it still stays retail business, but
Doing
Variance.
Doing a
variance.
variance instead.
yeah, so I don't see what the difference would be. Rather than we got a whole block of retail business and we're putting one little notch in it for one house. Cause all the rest is still retail business.
Yeah, I mean,
Cause that's what we're pushing toward on Bridge Street is retail business.
right, long term, and I mean, if
Yeah.
that's, if you feel like that's a vision that could possibly happen down the road, I mean, with that already being
Yeah.
developed. I mean, I think it would be unlikely that block sees change.
I don't have a problem with him putting a house on there. I just am looking down the road is all.
Yeah, I think the only, the issue with the variance is then it's still essentially a non-conforming use. If you get a variance for something, it's a non-conforming use. If it's zoned proper and he puts a house in there.
Well, it's retail business. If he's putting a house in there, it's non-conforming use.
But no, that's why he wants to get it rezoned, so it wouldn't be retail business anymore.
Yeah.
7,200.
I guess my question is, you have what, 1, 2, 3 houses right there already? How are they zoned?
Their own retail business.
Okay. What's to keep him from building a house there?
Retail
You already have houses in that
Zoning.
area.
zoning. That's why he proposed a change, because retail.
How did the other houses get built?
They were,
A long time ago, they were there either prior existing to the,
Did that change?
to that map.
yeah.
So. And David's still on here. If you got any questions for him?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm not opposed, but I agree. As far as what Jerry said, I agree. I think we wouldn't avoid setting a precedent for this, right? Like setting this, like, okay, we just go in and make a zone change in any situation where, stuff that's happened in history where either it wasn't enforced or maybe it was grandfathered in, whatever the case. I would just like to follow the process that would cover the town or avoid any issues in the future if we encounter the same type of situation. And I don't know if that really exists much, Emery, if you're aware of those type of zoning anomalies. If those exist elsewhere in town, I imagine they do in some places.
Yeah, and it's an issue in every rural community you're gonna run
Yeah.
into. Because everything gets developed prior to these, a lot of it, and then development's slow in rural communities and. To try and make things work, you get this use here, this use there, and I mean. Nowadays, putting a mill as close to where it is now in the middle of town, you wouldn't think of doing that, but. When it was built at the time, it needs to be there for specific reasons and people were probably living right next to it when it first ever got built.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's where the railroad tracks were.
Yeah,
But why couldn't you do a variance? Is there a reason we couldn't do a variance?
I wouldn't recommend doing a variance for a use that. Is not, basically not allowed in that district, because I think you would almost be setting a worse precedent than rezoning it. Because at least by zoning it, you're saying, those uses are compatible with those uses. You give them a variance for a house, then somebody else wants a variance for this, and then you're basically just gonna flip flop.
But you're kind of spot zoning still.
I mean, that's, if you,
Yeah.
I know quite a bit about that area because I've been around it for a long time. So the first 2 houses on the west, is sort of the old Cassett house and Vern Wagner's property, were all there before there ever was a. Was put in there, but the apartment was he was the Emery. And he had carried claim that as a Terry Hall Sportsman Club. Okay, Terry had hats made for that.
Yeah, I remember how they did it.
And that was what allowed him to build, continue to build it, because he scraped that house that was there off and moved that modular in and made a nice house out of it.
Yeah,
If you remember where this empty lot was where
JD's trailer was.
the trash was that Terry pointed out, and of course,
Yeah.
that's been modernized in the last 50 years. Okay. So,
I'm not saying it wouldn't be an improvement.
no,
I'm just
I
saying,
understand what you're saying. Sometimes for a variance, folks have trouble getting financing for property that's got a variance on it. If there's a deep title search for that, the spot zoning is almost just as dangerous as granting a variance. So the only real live commercial building that exists is Randy Shadeen's storage shop that again was there before zoning was.
and then the landscaping caddy corner to that.
Haman's.
And then, yeah,
So.
is that,
Stevens is.
it's Burger's own the building, I think, but it's a landscaping. And then you got storage units across the street.
Now you're across the street, now you're east of the street,
Yeah.
okay? And you have the Stallings deal, same thing when they built that, that was gonna be a pump sales deal. Okay, then you have the Stallings well yard.
And above that, it's all up that, it's all blocked off for retail business.
And so it does get awfully convoluted, so I would almost suggest, and I have no dog in this hunt, but
Yeah.
I'd almost suggest rezoning the whole block, RB 7200. And
Where all the residences are.
where the residences are, and then you're not spot zoning anymore. But what incentive is there for those other 3 residences, other than they would be now conforming? To just rezone that whole half a block, because at the alley, it's already 72. Across Bridge Street would still remain retail business, which then as you go west from there, takes in almost all of my land that is zoned retail business. And I think you start, I never really did, I've been involved in the planning commission years ago too, but I'm like, I don't know whoever saw retail business going west of town, because the buildings that I own up there, when I was renting them out, everybody wanted to be downtown.
But there was a lot of businesses way back up there, the Claire's dealership, the construction.
Construction shop, there's my stuff, my storage unit,
Yeah,
and all that, so, but it's not, when I have a beauty shop in my building for 7 years, they can wait to get out of there and get downtown,
yeah.
okay? My 2 cents.
Yeah,
You guys can table it too,
yeah.
and we can revisit it next time. Yeah, you don't have to make a decision on it.
I think maybe we should do that and look at rezoning the whole block and talk to those people and stuff and see what their objections would be and
You'll have to make a determination on this before, because that's gonna be a whole nother process.
But we can table this
You can
discussion
table this
now
discussion for now, and
and
then,
do more homework on it.
and then next meeting you could revisit it, and then, later down the road, we could look at that block.
Yeah,
And I think that's probably the best way to go.
yeah,
Other than I'm sure he's chomping at the bit to
build something.
get figured out what he's gonna do while the weather's still decent.
Yeah, but it's what it is.
I would like to ask too. I mean, this is maybe a personal, I don't know if it's a personal question, but were you aware when you signed the contract and purchased the land, was it clearly identified as a commercial zone?
No, I
Retail
was,
business.
I was blindsided by that. I didn't know there was sewer and water involved as well.
Okay,
I thought it was retail. Cause I blew it on my end from not digging deep enough.
Well, I think that's just something for us to be aware of too, and to pass that information on to our
Yeah.
folks in real estate too, so that
I already
people don't
chewed,
get surprised in this way.
I already chewed.
That's their responsibility.
It is, I agree.
That's not my job to make sure.
No,
that-
no, and I agree completely, Emery, but I think it makes us mindful that people need to be double checking that
Yeah.
and make sure that folks aren't getting into this kind of bind.
I talked to Darcy about it and I knew nothing about the water and sewer. I thought it was just vacant land. And I thought it was retail. So shame on me for not looking at it. I bought it from Arizona.
It is retail.
It is retail.
It is
Yeah,
retail,
I
it's
thought-
commercial,
I thought it was
It's not-
residential, yeah. Yeah,
I didn't do my due diligence on my end. So I'm just as guilty as the real estate agent, Darcy.
Yeah, I looked at the contract. I went down and talked with the realtors about it, and it was on there that it's zoned retail business.
Mm.
It's
Okay.
there.
yeah.
Yep, I didn't do my due diligence. And if it doesn't work out, I can always just sell it. It's not the end of the world. So
Let's table it for now.
Yeah.
Make a motion to table it for
I'd
now.
second that.
All in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
I,
All opposed? Okay, it's tabled then till the next meeting.
And, if we look at the stamp plan, the next meeting, we took it off tonight, it's just with people out of town, Chuck was gone, I think. So we'll look at the next meeting and plan as that goes. And we're about wrapped up with our Title 17 edit. But once we get that done, we'll get copies over to you guys on that. Go from there.
Okay. Thanks, Emery.
Thanks, Emery.
Thanks.
thank you.
thanks, David, we'll follow up with you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is Community Center Joint Powers Board. Have anything from anyone, or did you just do that?
That's me.
Oh,
That's me.
you?
Yep, I don't have anything new to announce. We really just reviewed, we had a successful party on the plat and we ran through upcoming improvements to the facility and upcoming events and things. Our next meeting, oh man, I don't have that right in front of me, is, let me see.
It's like October 14th.
Yeah, that sounds right. So second Monday. So October 14th, 4:30 at the community center. Thanks.
Okay. Recreation Commission,
I wasn't at the last meeting, so I have nothing to report.
nothing to report there. Saratoga Airport Advisory Board. Have anything, Brenda? Yeah.
Went over the end of the year fiscal report and also the monthly reports. And the board was very appreciative and really impressed with how she's doing handling all the finances. Jim Grill from Armstrong and Lochner Engineers talked about the update to the PCN, and that is the rating of the runway, how heavy a aircraft can land on that. He didn't really say definitively how heavy a aircraft can land on it, but they are looking into it. And the CIP update for future plans for the airport, they went over that and the engineers have put into our, into Black Cat, our, the computer system, projects going through 2038. They talked about working on the minimum standards and rules and regulations. They're still working on that. They talked about the Wyoming Airport Coalition Conference that started today and runs through Friday. Most things will be at the PBCC and there'll be a golf tournament at Old Baldy on Thursday. Or tomorrow on Wednesday. And there's also classes offered at the PBCC for There was a new hangar update. There's a fellow that's building a new hangar. He was gonna do it this year. He apologized. He'll be starting it in the spring. And he's working on redesigning it. And working with our engineers, for an environmental study that will need to be done. The master plan grant is finished. They have the money now, and so they'll start working on that. They'll have a technical advisory committee meeting coming up. And they'll start the survey portion of it soon, and the master plan draft should be finished by the end of next summer. And the landing fees for August were $26,325, which is the best August ever. And the year-to-date total is $106,450. And that was it.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. All right, next is South Central Wyoming Emergency Medical Services Board. Have nothing that I know of from them. Is there any new business to be discussed? And no executive session. Is there any further business anyone has? And I would take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Bye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned. Everyone have a nice evening.
Thank you. Karina, do I need to stop by when I get back into town and sign anything?
That would be great for the bills. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, it'll be next Monday, but I'll make a point to come by.
That sounds good.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for your help.